Well, welcome back. This will be the second part of this next homework assignment we're working on. So before you view this, make sure that you have the assignment, two assignments put into the same spreadsheet. We're calling out assignment 9, and that you've got the strength of concrete with the pull down menu on the main screen connected to the ACI mix design. So if you've got those two things going, then we'll fill in the rest today. All right, so let's share the screen again. So here we are back to my desktop, and I'll open up the spreadsheet, and there we are. So again, just to recap, we are here at the main sheet, and our strength of concrete now is a pull-down menu, which we set last time, and that value is connected to the ACI mix design. You'll see that I cut out or just deleted the strength input variable here, and that our calculation for cement, you'll see if you look carefully, does go back to the analysis sheet in C13 to get that information. So if you got those two things, then this is a good place to start. If you don't have those working yet, then go back, look at the part 1 video, and try to get that together. If you have issues, give me a call or give me an email, and we'll try to work that out. Okay, so let's get the cost for our beam in. So what I've done is, you'll see at the bottom of this sheet is I've put in some information here. Now I went ahead and did it ahead of time. You could pause the video right now and review that. I'll just make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. So all I've done is at the bottom of the sheet, I've just added some blank information. So this is just as you see here, that's just an inventory of our cost per ton for all of our materials. And that's right out of the project definition. Those are just numbers. And following our strategy, I made those gray boxes so that those are like parameters for our model. I also kind of copied this format down and made a space where I'm going to compute my cost of my structure. So I'll calculate my steel cost and my cement cost and my coarse aggregate and fine aggregate, and then I'll add those up for my total cost. So that's what we're going to work on today, on this part, is to calculate those costs. So just to remind you what those formulas are, you can go back to the website and if you go to the notes section and come down here, it says cost equations. And if you click on that, you'll get a sheet, and there's all of our cost equations. So we'll use this first one here to calculate the cost of the concrete, the steel in the concrete. So we'll need the area of steel, the length of steel. 490 is going to be a constant. 500 we get from the table, and the 2000 is a constant. So all this information is available for us already on the reinforced concrete beam sheet. So let's go here. So we'll start here. I'll try to make this as big as I can so you can see it. Oops, got a little carried away there. There we go. That's about the best I can do right there. And slide over a bit. So starting here, we'll start with our equal sign. And I want to calculate how much steel I have. Well, I can do that by going back to my reinforced concrete beam and getting the area of steel. There's the area of steel right here. And then I'll multiply that times the length of my steel, which is also right here. So I'll close that up and return. And you can see right now it just says 6.6. Now all that is really that's cubic inches of steel right now. That's just the area of steel times the length of steel. And I'll show you that. This tag in the front is just telling you what sheet in the workbook you're looking at. So I'm taking J9 and C9 together. You might remember that's in cubic inches, so I need to divide that by 1728. And that'll convert it to cubic feet. So now you can see I have a really small number. And then I'm going to multiply that by the weight of concrete, weight of steel, which is 490. Then I'm going to multiply that by the unit cost, which happens to be right here on this sheet, 500. That's in F34, and then divide by 2,000. So I should get 47 cents for my steel. So again, you can see that's the area of steel times the length of steel. Then divided by 1728, that's my conversion to get from cubic inches to cubic feet. Then times 490, steel weighs 490 pounds per cubic foot, times F34, that's our cost per ton, and then of course 2,000 pounds is our ton. So if you want to make sure you get that, you can pause the video now and see if your equation matches with mine. Then hopefully we all get the same value of 47 cents. And if I look back at the, let's see if I can find the, let me go backwards a little bit and go to our homework and look at this homework. Let's see if I get the same value. Yeah, you can see it here. I'll make it a little bit bigger. So that's what we're trying to get. These are the numbers that we should be getting right now. This is 47 cents. Good, so now we can move on to the cement. So you might remember that our cement costs are given by this equation. So we have B, H, and L. Now those are all values on our reinforced sheet. Just like A and L were there, we're now going to have the same. We'll have the same conversions that we'll have to get this off the reinforced concrete. I'm sorry, the ACI mix design. This is our unit cost, and all these other things are everything in the denominator is a constant. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so here we go with the cement. We're going to start with first the volume of the cement. All those values are here on the main sheet. So I'm going to do the width B times the height 6 times the length there. And I'll go ahead and close that up. And the value we get here, this 810, that's actually now cubic inches of concrete. And if you look at that again, you can see I've just gone to the reinforced rectangular beam analysis sheet, and I've multiplied C9, C10, C8. And if a quick check shows you that those are these values right here, the volume of the beam. Okay, so what do I do next? Well, I take that and I divide it by 1728. That's my conversion. And I need to multiply it by the weight of my cement, which is right here. And of course, I have to divide that by 27 to get it to pounds per cubic foot. And then I multiply that times the cost of my cement, which is here, an F35, and then divided by 2,000. That's the ton. So it looks like I get right at $1. We'll do a quick check of that. Yep, and we get $1 is correct. That's from the main sheet. So I'll flip back. And I'll do is I'll open that up. And oops, sorry. Don't have much control there. I'll let you take a look at that for a second. And if you're having trouble with the calculation, just pause the video, take a look at that, and see if you can get that to work. Okay, let's move on to coarse aggregate. So checking our calculation again, you'll notice that it's very similar to the cost of cement. In fact, cement, coarse aggregate, and fine aggregate all pretty much have the same format, except the weights will be different, and then the unit weights will be different. Okay, so let's go back to our sheet, starting with coarse aggregate. We'll go back, and again, I'll calculate the volume of concrete, or the beam, which will be the length times the width times the height. If I remember correctly, I think that was 810. Yeah, 810. So that's 810 cubic inches. So we'll divide by 1728. That will convert it to cubic feet. Now we're doing coarse aggregate. So I'm going to take the weight of coarse aggregate, which is here in C26, 1221, divided by 27. That'll get it to cubic feet. And then times the unit cost of coarse aggregate is here, $18 a ton. That's an F36. And then divided by 2,000. And I got 19 cents. Let me flip back over and see if that looks reasonable. Yeah, 19 cents. That's the same value I got before. So again, I'll click on that. I'll roll that up a little bit higher and let you look at that. And again, take a quick pause if you need to and make sure that's working for you. Okay, one more to go. I'll go back to my notes section here, and you can see that fine aggregate looks very similar to the coarse aggregate. It's just going to be the cost value or the amount that we're using in the ACI mix design and in the cost value. But this first term here is the same for all of them. Okay, so we'll start with that. So we'll say equal. And in parentheses, I'll go get the dimensions of the beam, which will be length times width times height. Again, I just picked those three values, multiply them together, and you can see that brings me back to 810. I've got that value before, so I feel good about that. So then I'm going to divide that by 1728. Oops. That converts from cubic inches to cubic feet. Then times the weight of fine aggregate from my mix, divided by 27. Oh, I should have put that in parentheses. Let me go back and put a set of parentheses around that last bit. And then times the cost of, you know what, I'm having trouble clicking on that. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter that. And we'll try it again. So what I've left off here on the end is I've got to multiply that times the unit cost and then divide it by 2,000. And I got 11 cents. And a quick check of that. Oh, I got 12 cents. Must be a little rounding error there. I better go, I'll check my spreadsheet, make sure I did it right. Oh, it's 11 cents now. Okay. So there's the equation for that one. Again, you can see that's the volume of the beam. Conversion to cubic inches. 27 is the fine aggregate in the mix. And then the unit cost. So I'll let you, I'll pause here for a second. You can pause it. Oops. Escape that. You can pause the video now if you need to and make sure that's working for you. Okay, so we're back. So this is a simple one. We'll just, our total cost, we'll use the sum function and we'll sum up the total. So I get $1.77. And a quick check back to the data that we used here, and it's $1.78. I must not have put the right moisture content values in. That's just a minor thing. You can check that with this data to make sure it's okay. That's close enough. All right, so what I have now, I'm pretty much done. You can see on my ACI mix design sheet, I have everything I need. So I can still change the slump and the aggregate size. I can still change these parameters. Everything here will automatically update. Now I have a cost of my beam. So if I go back to the this sheet, I can put in all the information I need for the beam, including the strength. It'll update. So now what I have to do is I need to bring back my cost adjusted data. So if you look back at the homework, I've suggested that you add a little piece here and then something here. So I'm going to type those in myself and let you do it also, and then we'll make this final cost adjusted part. So I'm going to insert a line. Give me a little more space. Put a block around that. So this one is going to be the, what did I call it again? Adjusted SWR. Okay, so we'll use the same terminology. Adjusted SWR. Then over here, I picked two boxes. Let me see, go back to the, so cost and then max cost. So here I'm gonna type in cost and then max cost. Now those are wrapping around, so I'm going to make sure that those are left justified, and I'll go ahead and make those bold. Now this first one I colored green. I'll come up here with my fill bucket and I think I'll just do a quick copy paste here. That'll get me the form what I want. And then here this will be gray. That's the same as before. Now we know these are going to be dollar format. So I select the two. I'll go up here and hit dollar. That didn't seem to respond the way I wanted. So I'm going to pull it down and go to currency. And I'm going to use the this format. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to type in my $1.50. That's my max cost. That's still not doing what I want to do. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go up here to, there we go. Now it's working. Hit the symbol to get the, now this cost is going to be easy. I'm just going to go say equal, and I'm going to run over here to the ACI mix cost that we did before, the 177, and click on that. That's it. Come back. So that brings the 177 back. So now we have all the data we need to make the cost adjusted. Now I'm only going to make this adjustment if my cost is greater than 150. So I'm going to embed this in an if statement. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Let me stop all that. Whoops, sorry. Things get going pretty fast. There we go. All right. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to say if my cost is greater than the max cost, that means I have a penalty. So how do I convert my penalty? Well, I take my strength to weight ratio and I multiply it times the cost and I divide it. I got that backwards, sorry. So I'm going to multiply it times 150 divided by cost. That should make it smaller. If I don't have a penalty, then I just keep my strength to weight ratio. Before I let you see that, I'm going to do a quick check. 162, that's pretty close. The cost was a little bit different, that's why. So here's the formula again. So you can see I'll box the condition first. So if I-26 is greater than I-27, so if cost is greater than the max cost, that means I have a penalty. And if that's true, you do the second argument, and that's the way we compute it. We take the strength to weight ratio, F26, times max cost divided by cost. And of course, then if you don't have a penalty, if your cost is below the max, you just take the strength to weight ratio, which is F26. And there you go. That's all there is to it. So I'll shrink this back down to regular size. So now you can see you have a spreadsheet where you can enter in your rebar and all your other dimensions and your strength. Everything here will compute. And then you can go over here to ACI mix design sheet and put in information about your material and what kind of workability you want. This will all need to be calculated. The cost gets ported back to the main sheet, and you have that. So now you have all the facility you need to do a cost adjusted strength to weight ratio analysis of your beam. And if we had a project, you would then be using this in the weeks to come to guide your design. Since we don't have a project, it's pretty much the end of this, except for the homework that we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, come back to me. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. If we can do something a little bit in a different way, if you'd like the information in a different format, let me know. The notes will still be online with the PDFs of my slides. As we move forward, I'll just talk over the slides and annotate them, kind of like we would do in class. So hope this works out. Give me a call or email about the next assignment, and everybody stay well.